The zero-turn mower market in 2026 is more crowded, more confusing, and more misleading than ever before. Every brand has a bestseller, every dealer has a recommendation, every YouTube channel has a top pick, and buried inside all that noise are homeowners and commercial operators spending $8,000, $10,000, even $12,000 on machines that look incredible on paper but fall apart under real work in real conditions. That story repeats itself every single season because very few people are willing to tell the full truth once sponsorships and sales commissions enter the conversation. But in 2026, out of every zero-turn mower fighting for your money right now, there are only 4 machines that truly justify their price tag. So before you approve a quote, step onto a dealer lot or spend hard-earned money on a machine that is supposed to last the next decade. Watch every second of what comes next. Let's get started. Starting off with the Ferris ISX 3300. There is a conversation experienced commercial operators rarely put into spec sheets, dealer brochures, or YouTube thumbnails. What 5,000 hours on a zero-turn mower does to a human body across rough ground, uneven terrain, and properties that were never designed for operator comfort. Ferris is the brand that looked at that reality and chose to engineer a real mechanical solution instead of just adding a padded seat and calling it comfort, and the Ferris ISX 3300 stands as the highest expression of everything it has spent over 30 years building toward. It comes in 61 and 72-inch fabricated steel cutting deck configurations, delivering a wide and consistent turf finish across full commercial operating days. Cutting height adjusts from 1.5 inches to 5 inches in precise increments, giving operators complete turf control across every property specification and client standard. Engine options include Briggs & Stratton Vanguard commercial V-twin platforms delivering up to 37 horsepower with EFI electronic fuel injection that maintains efficient power delivery under heavy load without the inconsistency that develops across long operating days. Ground speed reaches up to 13 miles per hour, giving operators strong commercial productivity across large properties, while the independent suspension system maintains precise control and confidence on terrain that would destabilize conventional zero-turn platforms at comparable speeds. The fuel tank holds 13 gallons, supporting extended commercial operation between refills and keeping productive mowing hours high across full scheduling days. Blade tip speed delivers the aggressive cut velocity that produces the clean professional turf finish that commercial clients notice immediately. Operating weight runs approximately 1,550 pounds on the 72-inch configuration, reflecting the structural investment this platform makes in frame integrity and suspension engineering. An hour meter is included as standard equipment. Warranty coverage runs 4 years on commercial applications. Estimated annual maintenance cost runs between $400 and $700 with consistent professional service intervals. Starting price lands between $15,000 and $18,500 depending on deck size and engine configuration, a number that reflects exactly what is engineered into every component of this platform. Now here is the honest conversation that the Ferris community does not always initiate on its own. The ISX 3300 carries significant operating weight that becomes a real challenge on saturated ground and properties with soft or sensitive turf, where ground pressure damage is a legitimate concern. At 13 miles per hour, the ground speed is strong but not the fastest in this commercial class, and operators whose priority is maximum acres per hour may find competing platforms with higher top speeds more aligned with their workflow. The suspension system that defines this machine is genuinely exceptional but mechanically complex, and service requirements often demand a qualified Ferris technician who is not always immediately accessible in every market. The price point between $15,000 and $18,500 places the ISX 3300 at the upper end of the commercial segment, and for operations running tight margins, the investment demands careful productivity analysis before purchase. When experienced commercial operators spec out a personal machine, not a fleet unit or entry-level buy, many choose the Ferris ISX 3300 without hesitation because it does not just cut grass, it protects the person running it, and in 2026, that difference is worth every single dollar. If the Ferris ISX 3300 is the benchmark that every other suspension zero-turn in the commercial market gets measured against and almost never beats, then the Hustler Super Z Hyperdrive represents the absolute ceiling of what Hustler builds for the professional market. A machine designed not for occasional use, but for crews that measure performance in hours, acres, and consistency under pressure. It comes in 52, 60, and 72-inch fabricated steel deck configurations, built to handle the kind of daily commercial punishment that quickly exposes weaker platforms. Over time, it is exactly this kind of workload that separates heavy-duty construction from machines that start to loosen, flex, and wear out early. Cutting height adjustment ranges from 1.5 to 5 inches, giving operators precise control over turf finish across different properties and client demands. Power comes from Kawasaki FX and Kohler EFI V-twin commercial engines producing up to 37 horsepower. The kind of output that stays composed even when the grass is thick, damp, and unforgiving. A 12-gallon fuel tank supports long operating windows, reducing interruptions during full-day commercial schedules. And with blade tip speeds reaching roughly 18,500 feet per minute, the Super Z delivers a cut quality that professionals recognize immediately in the finish. Clean, sharp, and consistent across every pass. But specifications only tell half part of this picture. Where this machine really separates itself is in how it moves. The Hyperdrive system, built around Parker hydraulic wheel motors and heavy-duty commercial pumps, pushes ground speeds up to 16 miles per hour. At that pace, a 72-inch deck becomes more than cutting width. It becomes production volume. Acres disappear in a way that fundamentally changes how a full day of work is structured. And yet, despite that level of speed, the machine never feels out of control. Steering remains stable, response stays predictable, and the operator is not fighting the mower to maintain line or finish quality. The suspension seat plays a key role here, absorbing constant terrain feedback over long days, so fatigue does not slowly degrade accuracy. Because in commercial mowing, the difference between a clean finish at hour 2 and a sloppy pass at hour 8 often comes down to operator comfort. This is where the Super Z Hyperdrive earns its reputation, not in peak numbers, but in sustained performance that holds steady when conditions stop being ideal. Here is the honest side that the Hustler faithful do not always lead with. At 16 miles per hour, the Super Z Hyperdrive demands a skilled and focused operator. This is not a machine that forgives inattention at speed on complex terrain with tight obstacles. Newer operators or crews transitioning from slower platforms need a genuine adjustment period before the machine's full capability can be safely and productively accessed. Some operators have reported that the Hyperdrive hydraulic system, while exceptional in performance, carries higher service costs than conventional pump and motor configurations when components eventually need attention outside of warranty. Hustler's dealer network, while strong in commercial markets, can be thin in certain rural regions where immediate service access becomes critical during peak season demands. Moving in at number 3 is the Exmark Lazer Z X Series. When the property is massive, the deadline is real, and the client is standing at the window watching every single pass. The machine that gets rolled off the trailer is the Exmark Lazer Z X Series. ZX Series sits at the very top of what Exmark builds. And the moment you step into it, it feels less like a mower and more like a production platform designed for full-scale commercial punishment. Deck options stretch from 52 inches all the way up to a massive 96-inch ultra-cut rear discharge setup, with 60 and 72-inch configurations filling out the commercial range in between. But the real difference is not the size. It is how that deck responds once it meets real ground. Fully floating construction, dual anti-scalp protection, and sealed bearings all work together, keeping the cut perfectly consistent even when the terrain becomes unpredictable. And then there is the part operators notice immediately in the field: the finish. The Adapt system lets you adjust rake and cutting height from 1 inch to 5.5 inches right from the seat, which means you are not stopping, stepping off, or breaking rhythm just to keep the cut dialed in. Over a full day, that difference quietly turns into real production time saved. Power comes from proven commercial platforms including Kawasaki, Kohler, and Vanguard EFI V-twins, built to stay stable when workload and heat start climbing. Exmark's RED system keeps watch in the background, tracking engine performance in real time and flagging issues before they turn into downtime that costs you a full day. The drive system is just as deliberate. Parker hydrostatic components deliver smooth, controlled response, with speeds reaching up to 11.5 miles per hour on smaller setups and around 10.5 miles per hour on the largest deck. Even in tight areas, the hydraulically dampened twin-lever steering gives operators a level of control that feels almost effortless, especially when threading around obstacles at pace. Then comes the part you only fully appreciate after hours in the seat. The long-travel suspension system with ISO-mounted isolation takes the edge off rough terrain in a way that directly reduces fatigue. Less fatigue means fewer mistakes, and fewer mistakes means cleaner, more consistent output at the end of the day. Structurally, everything is built for abuse: heavy welded frame, wide semi-pneumatic front casters, and 24-inch Turfmaster rear tires that keep the machine planted even on rough commercial ground. Service points are designed for speed too, with tool-free access to key components, so maintenance does not turn into lost work time. Fuel capacity sits at 12 gallons, supporting long operating windows without constant interruption. And every adjustment, especially cutting height fine-tuning, is designed around keeping the machine moving, not slowing it down. Pricing reflects exactly what this machine is. Entry builds start around $16,700. Mid-range 72-inch setups sit between roughly $18,799 and $20,900. And the fully loaded 96-inch rear discharge configuration pushes into the $41,500 to $42,500 range, a price point that instantly separates commercial-scale operations from everything else. Here is the part of this conversation that deserves full honesty. The ZX series is not a machine for every budget or every operation. Entry-level landscapers or homeowners who occasionally tackle larger properties will find the price point far beyond what their usage realistically justifies. The 96-inch configuration in particular demands wide-open commercial terrain to earn its keep, and operators dropping it onto tighter residential properties with trees, beds, and obstacles will fight the machine more than they use it. Dealer proximity matters on a machine at this investment level, and in markets where authorized Exmark service is not conveniently accessible, a breakdown at peak season can create a scheduling crisis that no warranty card resolves quickly enough. Some operators have noted that the twin-lever steering system carries a learning curve for crews transitioning from other control configurations, and that adjustment period costs real productivity in the early weeks of ownership. If you have ever watched a professional landscaper finish a 5-acre property in the time it takes most homeowners to do half an acre, and wondered what on earth they are sitting on, the answer more often than not is a Scag. And in 2026, with more zero-turn options crowding this market than ever before, the Scag Cheetah 2 is still standing at the top of that conversation. And today, we are going to talk about exactly why that is, and whether it is genuinely worth every dollar of its price tag. The Scag Cheetah 2 comes with massive 61-inch and 72-inch cutting deck options built from heavy tri-plate steel with cast-iron spindles designed to survive years of brutal commercial abuse that would eventually destroy lighter residential decks. But what really separates this machine is how planted and refined it feels once the blades engage. The Velocity Plus cutter deck keeps airflow remarkably consistent, throwing clippings cleanly and leaving behind the kind of sharp professional finish that immediately stands out on large properties. Whether the grass is thick, wet, overgrown, dry, or uneven, the deck stays incredibly composed at nearly every operating speed. Power options climb all the way to 40 horsepower with EFI electronic fuel injection, giving the mower serious muscle without turning fuel consumption into a disaster during long commercial workdays. And when you're spending 8 to 10 hours cutting non-stop, that balance matters more than most people realize. The dual-range Hydro Gear Z T5400 transaxles push this machine up to 16 miles per hour in high range, which means the Cheetah 2 does not just mow fast, it absolutely devours acreage. Yet, even at higher speed, the steering still feels controlled, precise, and confidence-inspiring instead of nervous or unpredictable like many cheaper zero-turns. Cutting height adjusts from 1.25 inches to 5 inches in precise quarter-inch increments through a foot-operated deck lift that keeps adjustments quick and effortless while working. A massive 13-gallon fuel tank also helps eliminate constant fuel stops during long commercial runs. Then there is the comfort factor, and this is where many operators completely understand why professionals stay loyal to Scag. The suspension system uses adjustable coilover shocks paired with a 4-point ISO mounted seat that genuinely absorbs punishment across rough terrain. After a full day behind the controls, your body feels noticeably less beaten up compared to most standard commercial mowers. Scag also packs in practical commercial-grade details everywhere you look, including the Tiger Eye advanced monitoring system for real-time machine data, an Ogura GT5 PTO clutch with adjustable air gap for longer service life, a built-in 12-volt outlet for accessories, and standard commercial warranty coverage that reflects exactly who this machine was built for. Estimated annual maintenance cost on the Cheetah 2 runs between $400 and $700 with proper service intervals. Starting price sits at $14,000, and that number stops a lot of conversations before they start. Here is the honest side of this machine that the brand loyalists do not always want to lead with. $14,000 is a serious commitment, and for the homeowner with 2 acres who cuts on weekends, this machine is more than they will ever realistically need. And just like that, everything you thought you knew about buying a zero-turn mower in 2026 probably looks very different now. These machines were not chosen because of marketing hype, dealer incentives, or sponsored placements. They earned their place because real operators and homeowners proved they could survive real work in real conditions when other machines could not. If this video helped you make sense of a market filled with noise and bad recommendations, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications because there is a lot more honest, research-backed equipment content coming soon. And drop your property size, terrain type, and current mower in the comments below, because I read every single one, and I want to help you find the right machine for your setup. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.